Welcome back, everybody. This is ISA Insider News. My name is Max Tim, and we have with us, as always,
I'm Shayna Weber. Well, has two thumbs and is here today.
Right. What's happening? I'm wearing my Goonies Never Say Die shirt because it's the only shirt I have that has a skull on it, and we're kind of getting Halloween. And I thought, okay, fine. And then I thought, I wonder if Goonies could be a Halloween movie.
Yeah, I think everything can be a holiday movie. Maybe it's an anti-Columbus Day movie or shirt. That's what I was wondering.
Oh, okay. Because of the skull.
Maybe. I don't know. I'll just use anything as an excuse to say anti-Columbus Day.
Yeah.
Indigenous Peoples Day.
It is. It's Indigenous
this week.
Day. I think in the fact that people hold so closely to, no, it's Columbus Day. Why? What's so important about that?
Yeah, he came here. He killed a bunch of people. Awesome.
Yeah, didn't actually find our country. Don't need to get into politics, even though it is sweeping the country right now. For those of you who are not in America, we have our midterm elections, and it is getting a little yikesy. Like, how much do you watch a lot of TV?
Me?
Like, just regular.
I tried to, yeah, a little bit, but I try to avoid the ads and the news. I do the services with no news.
Crazy.
And ads.
Every single commercial is Ron Johnson is an alien and murdered babies. It's like, holy, they're just getting worse and worse. I'm not going to vote for Ron Johnson, but boy, they're making both parties. It's just like, all right, I think these people probably aren't quite as bad as these commercials are making them out to be. But yeah,
I know you can push someone the other direction from where you want them to go when you're that
right.
Absurd.
Yeah. Well, what do we have? Let's just get right into our top headline of the week. What do we have here? It's actually a pretty big one.
So the Hollywood Reporter has put out their top 50 showrunners list.
Big list. Hollywood's 50 most powerful TV showrunners of 2022. A lot of these names have been top showrunners for a very long time. But why are we sharing this article? What's the main reason?
For me, the reason that I was drawn to this article is because I got to put a face to a name and just sort of like very specifically see each showrunner or showrunning team and kind of get an idea of what they're watching, what they're currently doing, what's next for them. It's a really good comprehensive list. If you are if you're on the TV path, if you want to be a staff writer, making your list, learning about these showrunners, learning about their shows, what they like, what they don't like. Those kinds of things are really important because when you go into a meeting, you want to know this stuff.
It goes back to this idea that I think you and I have mentioned on prior episodes. I know we've mentioned it in panels that we've hosted, but you have to be a geek and a nerd about what you're interested in. And especially when it comes to not only just entertainment in general, but like you're saying, if you're going to be a TV writer, you kind of are required to know who these people are. Memorize the list. I think just being aware of the names and the shows that they make and write and create, it's a necessity. And there are a few names on here that I didn't recognize. And so it's like, okay, I need to know who these people are. But then of course you hear the show and you're like, oh, sure. Okay.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like it gives you this really great visual reference of, okay, you love The Bear. Here, these are the showrunners. And then you can do more research into them. What have they done? What were they working on? What was their path up? Study all of that stuff. Make your own lists.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can do more research than beyond just this article, which is it's interesting. Just the first 5 paragraphs of the article give you a ton of information. Like it says upward of 560 scripted series are expected to air in the US by year's end. And a ridiculous amount of shows. And these are only 50 showrunners. So you've got another 510 people running all these other shows. There are also, of course, the other, the flip side references of how difficult it really is to get a show not only made, but kept on air, even if you have a success. The HBO Max is a perfect example. They're just pulling these shows. So it's a true kind of state of the industry type of article. So it's not just a list of names. So we highly suggest diving in here.
Yes, it is a great one. And I believe they're going to be putting out more lists as the year comes to an end. So keep an eye out for the other lists, end of the year list that they're going to put out.
Yeah, these like 50 most, or I think they have like 30 under 30, like 30 top executives under 30. A lot of people are like, oh gosh, we make these lists and oh, it's just the whole thing. Those lists are actually very important. I'm all about those lists. I want to know who these 30 executives are that we need to be watching as they're coming up in the industry, because a lot of those people may very well end up being executive producers, showrunners on some of the shows that, these people might end up on the top showrunner list. So it makes a difference. We should be paying attention.
Pay attention. Check out that article. It's a good one.
Yeah, it is. All right. This week in ISA Insider, I know so many writers always ask, how the heck do I do this?
In the ISA articles in the main page, there is a new article up called How to Write a Logline Producers Won't Pass On. This is a pretty straightforward article, just runs you through the basics of putting your logline together, things to remember, some examples that, we're going to talk about in a second. But yeah, it's a great way to sort of like check yourself and get yourself back in. If you're working log lines, if you're reworking log lines, if you're writing them for the first time.
I think any support and help and education on how to write a log line is a good one, as long as you don't take it like, oh, this is so-called Bible verse. Like I can't sway from that. It's not true. I think this is a nice example of some steps that you can take to build your log line. There are some contradictions in this article that
there are.
But it's still helpful because what it does is frame the brain around the reader's experience. In other words, you want to think about you reading someone else's idea that you know nothing about, and then how much of that idea do I fully, completely understand from a level of I can then participate in expectation. So it's very much an audience experience kind of experience.
Right. I think one of the main things from this article is when you read, so there's examples in here, and I don't know if these were written by this writer, they created these log lines, or if they were pulled from somewhere, but as a exercise, maybe see if you can make that log line work better for what you have seen the movie, now looking at it, go, okay, how can I make this more exciting? I think for me, the main thing from this article is it's giving you the rules, and then what you need to do is then use your own voice or the tone of your film and make that log line a little bit more exciting, a little bit less formulaic if you can. Throw in something that is unexpected. Just zhuzh it up, I guess.
Shayna and I both could go a full hour on here are our tips on how to write a log line. What we want to point out are a couple of the main tips that we're going to offer up. My main tip, even though I have like 2 or 3 of them, see what I mean? I could go easily an hour, but the main tip would be to consider a log line a reference to a type of character, type meaning a flawed character, reference whatever that flaw or personality type is, meets a type of situation, and emphasis on the word and almost the definition of situation, because the word situation naturally allows for conflict to be assumed, whether it's high conflict or just some amount of small drama or comedy. There's a difficulty within the idea of a situation. So it's a type of character meets a type of situation, not a character is then presented with a setup. You want to get past the setup and into the middle of your story. I could easily keep going from there, but what do you have anything to add to that, Shayna?
I would just say once you get that down, once you have like a good version of that log line, then really share it with other people who you trust and figure out maybe there's a word or two that you can switch out with something that's more active, something that's more exciting, something that's more expressive. And always, for me, I always like a log line that leaves me with some sort of, ooh, what's next? Yeah. Ooh, how do they do that? Ooh, I want to feel something from your log line. I don't want to just read a log line that tells me like, a boy goes here and destroys the Death Star, which is like, Star Wars. I want to go, oh my gosh, how are they going to do that? I want to feel something and then be like, ooh, I need to read this, because that's the whole point of a log line.
Yeah, you get that feeling of, ooh, wow, this allows for a lot of types of moments. And those moments will be interesting to see. It's why those high concept ideas are so difficult to come by, but why everyone wants them. When you have a lawyer unable to tell a lie for 24 hours, you're immediately like, oh my God. Then you add some of the story elements on there, and it's like, wow, okay, that's a movie, you know.
Right.
A couple things I wanted to add. He has some references, the writer of this article. It's AJ, so it could be a she, but the use active voice. I want to add to that section. And I give these little rules to my writers in loglines and in your own outlining. You are not allowed to use the words realizes, discovers, tries to, and I think there was one other one that I can't remember. That doesn't do anything in a log line other than make me think about seeing someone trying to do something. What does that really look like? So you want to get past that, make it active, and allow the reader to go, oh, that is what this character is literally going to be doing, as opposed to just they realize this or they discover something. You know, it doesn't really show me anything. You want to stick to
Right. That's a good tip. I'm gonna go back and check all mine.
Well, we could keep going and going, but it's another example of a great article on ISA Insider that it just, you know, it's free education, everybody. There's really no reason not to be going through the ISA Insider on a regular basis.
Yep. You learn something every time.
Let's go into what we're watching. A lot. We're watching a lot.
Oh boy.
I really want to watch Midnight Club. And I know you said that you watched it. You watched the first two episodes. Is it good? And please tell me that it is.
It is.
Okay.
I'll tell you a little bit more after you tell me what you're watching.
All right. Okay. Yeah, I'm very excited about Midnight Club. There are a whole bunch of shows that we've even mentioned in prior episodes about, you know, spooky things coming on. I watched my usual to kick off the Halloween season, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, narrated by Bing Crosby, of course.
Okay.
It's like 22 minutes. Why not? Still watching House of the Dragon. I'm starting to get a little I don't really care about this family to be worried about them. They're all pieces of shit. I'm sorry,
exactly. No, I would agree. I'll just jump in on your comment. I think I'm done with the show now because, spoiler alert, we all know that the king is dying. The only one I cared about was him because he actually had a heart. And I was thinking back on Game of Thrones and I was like, we could always root for Jon Snow, Tyrion Lannister, and Daenerys Targaryen. They had good, solid like hearts, even though they were flawed. We knew that we could root for them. We were like, yes, you should prevail. Now there is not one character on House of the Dragon that I want to prevail. And I think I'm done.
Yeah, I know. I'm pretty much the same. I don't know if I'm at that level there. I will probably continue watching, just out of basic, you know, fandom. But Rhaenyra had a little bit of a reference to how she's realized, there's my passive word choice, over the years, her mistakes. A little bit, not a lot, but it's not enough for me to feel like she's redeemed. Then they keep showing this kid who's now older with the patch and he's got and I'm like, I'm going to hate this show. This is a horrible movie, and that kid is going to take over and I hate it.
I know. And it's like, who do you root for? You can't root for anybody. There's no one to root for anymore. Root for the dragons, but we all know what happens to them. So I'm kind of like, okay.
I know. You know, it's somewhat contradictory to what I was saying last week about the movie Blonde, where we don't need everything to be, you know, rosy puppy dogs and ice cream, happy endings and stuff. And that's true. But this is House of the Dragon. It's a fantasy show about literal dragons. And I kind of would prefer a nice, happy something.
Well, you just have to hope for somebody to win.
Yeah.
So
even in Blonde, you could tell Marilyn Monroe has a good heart. She comes from a good place. She means well. So you can still root for her, even though it doesn't end well. It doesn't feel like that here with House of the Dragon. Rings of Power, on the other hand, is almost the exact opposite, where I love everyone. And other than the bad guys, like that's the one nice thing about Rings of Power is that it's obviously delineated. You've got evil, you've got good, you know, and that's the whole Superman example that you used back.
Well, I may switch over to that show now.
So you haven't continued going. How far in?
I think I watched three. So now I can catch up. I think I'm going to switch.
Okay. It's the season finale, which is so sad, this coming Friday.
Wow.
It's awesome. I'm so excited to see what they're going to do. I hope they don't reveal the one thing that would bum me out, but we shall see. But anyway, in terms of Halloween movies, I watched this old movie from 1986 called House, and hopefully our fabulous editor can find the movie poster for this. It's with William Catt. It's this like decapitated hand about to ring a doorbell. Worst movie maybe ever made. I guess you could say costumes of the monsters in this house look like bad Fraggle Rock. Like it's really bad, but it's so fun to watch because it pulls you back to the 1980s horror movies. And they made like 5 of these things. I think they had like 4, 5 sequels. Watch that. And then I watched Beetlejuice last night, which is kind of you have to watch Beetlejuice.
You have to watch Beetlejuice. You
Yeah.
just have to. I always wanted
to watch it with my sister and nephew, and they had never seen it.
Oh, yeah.
They're old. Like these are older people. They'd never seen it. So that was fun. That was fun.
That's awesome. I always want to dress up like Lydia. I think I could do that with my bangs. Like
you could totally pull that off.
I might try that. Maybe for a Halloween episode, I'll do that.
That's a good idea. I would love to dress up as Beetlejuice, but that's a lot of work.
Yeah, but you could get the suit, the stripy suit.
We'll have to look at that. We're gonna have our Halloween
Spirit
episode,
Halloween.
the week of October 20th. We're gonna have the week of October 24th. We're gonna have our Halloween episode, so you can stay tuned. We'll talk about some of our favorite Halloween movies and just kind of get into the spirit of things. But okay, so what are you watching?
Okay, I watched a lot. So this is a lot for me. I watched the pilot of Reboot, which is the Hulu show by Levinson. If you are writing pilots, you should watch this pilot, because the great thing about this pilot is there's so much that is going to come from what they're setting up.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great job, all these characters, but you leave, and the reason I stopped at the pilot just because I wanted to absorb that. There are so many arms that are reaching out from that pilot of conflict and stakes and what can happen, because each character they set up, what is going on with them, what we can sort of see they're going to be doing. And then there's a big conflict within the show itself, because it's the reboot of an old like Family Matters type sitcom, like one of those TGIF shows.
Yeah.
Where like everyone's perfect.
Yeah.
And then this showrunner comes in and she wants to reboot it. And then there's a secret that's revealed at the end, like who she is and why she wanted to reboot it. So it's really good. And I'm excited to watch the rest of it. So that's a really good one.
Great.
And then I watched the first 2 episodes of The Midnight Club, which is Mike Flanagan's new show on Netflix. I think they're calling his like chunk of shows the Flaniverse. The Flaniverse collection. Okay. So it's a slow burn, but it's awesome. And I think that in his style, he's building us up so we feel comfortable, right? Comfortable. There's like little scares and stuff in there, but getting us comfortable for like when excuse my language, or the shit hits the fan. I mean, it's like, okay, you move into a house, you get comfortable, you get cozy. Right. Oh, everything's fine. And you know what I mean? Like, I feel like
totally
that's what he's doing,
style.
and I'm super into it. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause he did that with Midnight Mass too. Cause there were a few episodes where I was like, let's do something here. And then suddenly it just hits you over the head. But did you get hit over the head in the second episode, or you kind of can tell something else?
No, it's still a slow build. And so don't be deterred if you're kind of like, okay, it's a little bit on the slow side. Yeah. But the characters and the acting is great. And it's so like full of little things. And like, I'm trying to watch like all the little things if I can like pull things out. You know what I mean? I'm really enjoying it. It's very fun. It has, if you like Stranger Things without the big fantasy thing, but you like that sort of dark ghost story,
love it,
type storytelling, it's great.
Oh God, I'm gonna love it then. Okay. Yeah. And Lyle Crocodile.
And I went to the theater with my son and watched Lyle Crocodile, which is very, very cute. It's very well done. Shawn Mendes sings. He's the voice of Lyle Crocodile. It has Constance Wu and the kid from Night Books, who's really good. And then the main guy is Bardem.
Javier Bardem.
Javier Bardem. And he is so lovely. he just like he went into this role, just like fully immersed himself in this role of this magician who, raises Lyle, and then things happen. But it's truly a lovely kids movie.
It's just even relatively well done animated family movie is great.
Mhm.
Like how often?
Well, it's live action, but the crocodile obviously is
Oh, I
CGI.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay, got it. I
yeah, it's
didn't
live
know that.
action.
That's even better then, because then
Mhm.
it's harder to enjoy a live action movie than it is an animated one.
Totally. Yeah, I was like, oh God, am I gonna sit here
Yeah,
but take a nap? But it
yeah.
was really cute.
All right, well, that's what we're watching,
Very good.
everybody. We would love to hear what you're watching. Put it in the comments, especially now that the holiday season is technically upon us. I saw my first Christmas commercial yesterday, which I'm like, folks, holy moly. It is, as of the day, it was October 9th. But anyway, let's get into a little bit of Q&A kind of talk here. Not quite Twitterverse, but we had a good question come from one of our fans.
We did. So this came from Art Wassam, which rhymes with awesome. We now know that from his comments. Hi, Art. Art sent in his question. He wanted to know the best way to navigate or plan your trip to the Austin Film Festival. And we will talk about Austin and also just festivals in general, if you are going to meet people and go to the panels and try to, put yourself out there.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I think I
Mhm.
come at it from, and maybe this is just my upbringing or how I came up through the industry, but I always come from a just manage expectations type of belief
Mhm.
system, which can sometimes feel like a little bit of a downer. And I'm not trying to be that way, but I look at any festival, whether it's a writers conference or a film festival or a pitch fest, especially, go use it as an educational experience. Just put that at the forefront of your brain. Everything else will come from it.
So panels, make sure you look at the panels, arrive early if it's going to be a really popular one, arrive early and wait in line and make sure that you get a seat. I mean, at Austin, there's so many good panels that even if one is full, you can probably go down the hall and find another one that's starting soon or that you can slide into. But yeah, I would say for the ones you really want to go to, if you don't have the badge that gives you early access, because I think they're doing that now, then get in line, get there early, get in line. And you know what? It's a great way to meet people who are like-minded like you in line, waiting for like that panel for somebody awesome. That's a great place to make friends and then group up and go to things together, because sometimes it's really scary if you're going by yourself to sort of like every time put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Meet a group of people, plan to go. I would say at Austin, if you can go to the bar, if you can find a spot in the bar and you're not doing anything, grab a couple people, go sit, and then invite people to come over and sit with you, because people are always wandering through there looking for spots. That's what I like to do. I like to like sit and then have people come.
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, and then just try to just maybe branch out of your comfort zone as much as you possibly can after you go to the panels. And if there's events at night or there's this great like breakfast or I think there's a barbecue, go to that stuff. But again, maybe you can meet some people in line or sit next to someone. If you can buddy up with people, it just makes the whole thing more fun
Yeah.
while you're meeting other people and learning.
I think that's the key, because we could go on and on kind of giving you more and more tips, Art, but for anybody going to a festival, especially Austin, because it's the biggest screenwriting conference, because like you said, they have so many panels. It amazes me from a business standpoint how they can afford to house all of the people that they invite to be panelists. There's a ridiculous amount of people. Quite a few ISA connected people. Sean Colin Smith is going to be on a panel. There are a couple other people. But yeah, I think that's first and foremost, just go in and have fun. Don't treat it like, oh my gosh, this is my career move. It's just get to come together. Everybody else is looking at it in the same kind of way. This is just fun. It's a big party. Meet people. have your Twitter handle ready. Instead of trying to
Mhm.
get somebody's cell phone number, say, hey, are you on Twitter? You can follow me on Twitter. You can just follow them right there. And it's a much easier way to stay in contact with someone. Screenwriting Twitter is awesome. They have so many amazing threads on there. So yeah, I think that's the best advice, Shayna, is just have fun.
Some things not to do. Do not pitch people your projects. Do not hand someone your script who's on a panel. Do not be that obnoxious person who stands up to ask a question and takes up the entire time.
Yeah, yeah.
Just don't be that person. Just use it as a way to make real connections. Like try to say, I'm going to meet 3 people during my trip, and just make real connections. Don't network. Don't try to sell yourself. Don't pitch your stuff to somebody you don't know. Just go make connections and go to the panels and learn and ask your questions, but be respectful of everybody else.
I think that's really great advice. If someone asks, what are you working on?
Sure.
But you still don't necessarily have to go into, oh my God, here's my pitch. You can just say, I'm working on a kind of fantasy adventure for family, kind of a 4-quadrant thing, and it's about this one particular character. Just that's it. You don't need, even if it's not even the log line. And if somebody's like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. If they then ask you to tell you more, great, then you can have a conversation. But don't forget to then ask what they're working on. What are you doing? This isn't just about you. Yeah.
Exactly. That's a very good point.
Yeah. So have fun, Art. We have quite a few people that I know anyway, going to Austin. I have my retreat coming up this weekend. I'm getting writers live here in the Lake Geneva area. We've got, I think it's 11 writers, and it's just me and those 11 writers. A lot of writing time going to happen. I'm going to try to do the same thing next year, but at an elevated place. So you can stay tuned and find out more about that. It's kind of festival season. It's festival conference contest season. What's the good news of the week?
It made me laugh so much. And then I tried it. So you're going to have to try it. Okay. On the Good News Network, which we love, there is a website that lets you listen to cats' purrs whenever you're stressed.
And it can calm your kitty too.
It can calm your kitty too. And the website is called purrly.com, PURRLI.com. And you go on there and then you can actually change the settings for like how you want the cat to purr and how soft. Is the cat happy? Is the cat calm? And I tried it. I mean, I have a cat, but I let it run for a couple minutes and then I sneezed. So, it worked.
So you really did sneeze.
I really sneezed.
I thought you were just being kind of
I think it was just like, like, oh God, there's a cat near me and it's purring. Oh God, allergies.
Oh my, I tried doing it on my phone and it said something like the frequency from your iPhone speakers can't emit the purr sounds or something. So you have to have your desktop. You have to either desktop or have headphones in, then the headphones will work. Which was weird. But interesting. So there you go. If you get stressed out or a little anxious, there are a lot of reasons in today's world why we might. Go ahead to purrly.com.
Yeah, just try it out. If you feel stressed, just pull up the website and just sit back, close your eyes and listen to the cat purr a little bit and see how you feel. And then let us know. Let us know if it worked.
Right. If nothing else, it's a funny little thing to do.
And you can share it with your friends.
Right. Whether you're a writer or director or actor, overall creative genius, this was your news for the week. So thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
See you next time.